Welcome to Cardboard Conjecture. We're a podcast about board games where we have opinions and conclusions formed on the basis of incomplete information. This episode of Cardboard Conjecture is brought to you by these great Saskatoon businesses: Amazing Stories Comics on 8th Street, Dragon's Den Games on 8th Street, MrDiceGuy.com, and Breakout Escape Rooms on Faithful Avenue. Welcome to Cardboard Conjecture. I'm your host, Norm.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Ian.
And on this episode, we are going to change it up a little bit. We're going to include a new segment, and we are featured. Usually we do a review of we each do a review of a board game, but this time we're gonna all dogpile on a particular review of a board game, but not of a board game. Ryan, why don't you explain what we're going to review?
I'm just going to cut to the chase. We're going to review Board Game Arena. Ha-cha-cha-cha!
Cardboard Conjecture is proudly sponsored by Amazing Stories Comics on 8th Street in Saskatoon. They're the winner of the Joe Shuster Award for Best Comic Book Store in Canada, and they were also nominated in 2016 for the U.S. Eisner Spirit of Comics Retailer Award presented at Comic-Con. And welcome back. Let's get straight to games of late. What have you been playing, kind of thing? Ryan, let's get you started on this.
It's been quite a while since our last outing, but yeah, this whole new world that we've been kind of living in for the past little bit. I've gotten a lot of games in. I don't know about you guys, but we ended up. It was slow at start, because when we were trying to figure out our whole new routine, but then we actually got into like a nice groove, and as soon as we like depleted our PVR of TV shows and whatnot, Jen and I have been doing a lot. We actually went back to the classics.
Cool.
Lately, like we've been doing like the Castles of Burgundy. We've been playing Stone Age. We've been exploring Alhambra because I got the big super duper mega box with like 42 modular expansions inside of it. And so we've been exploring that. Takanoko, Dominion. We've been doing with all those classic games that kind of where we started, we kind of went back to again. Well, having a board game collection of like 300 games kind of got me prepared for a pandemic world. I've got entertainment up the wazoo here.
Awesome.
Other things we've been doing, Regan, our 4-year-old, he's really been getting into gaming lately. And so with modified rules, we can play Ticket to Ride, and we can play King Domino with him, which has been really, really cool. He always asks to play a game before he goes to bed. So like tonight we played King Domino like for the 1 millionth time in the past 1 week.
So when you say modified rules, is he the one modifying it? And you just do whatever he says?
Kinda. Like we have to make a square. Well, we don't have to make a square, Dad. We can do it however we wanted.
I played Horrified. Horrified is a the Prospero Hall thing where there's not really a designer name. It's more of a group of designers from, I think it's the Funko company. I learned from the last Ludology episode where basically a team of designers are collaboratively creating all of these games. And I mean, what a list of games to come out with. Villainous, Jaws, Top Gun, Wonder Woman. The Shining is one that I've seen come out lately, but this one, Horrified, it's a cooperative game, which is because of this whole social isolation. I've been playing a lot of solo stuff. So this is a cooperative game where I think it's the United Artists or the Universal Monsters, the classics like Frankenstein, the mummy, creature from the Black Lagoon. There's a whole kind of slew of monsters that the general idea of this is they you select 3 monsters of this set of monsters, then they're invading this small town, and you solo wise or a group of you do whatever you can to eradicate this town of all these monsters. And it's very much your cooperative game where there's an event, everybody takes a turn, and at the end of the turn there's an event deck that comes in, the monsters move, certain events happen, villagers come out that you have to help escort. Those villagers will give you specialty cards that are one-off kind of special advantage cards. And I mean, as far as a cooperative experience goes, it's a lot of fun. This is one of my little favorite. I refer to some of the games lately for solo gaming as you've got your little cotton candy kind of junk food games, and you've got your sit down and have a long kind of well played out thought kind of game. And this one kind of fits in the middle there where it's still a real fun challenge, but it's not over the top in regards to its complexity, but there's a lot of fun choices. So yeah, that's Horrified.
You're not playing as the monsters, you're playing against the monsters.
Yeah, you're playing as there's I think about 8 different kind of characters that you can play that each have a specialty bonus. I don't want to use, I mean, everybody always compares it to Pandemic, where you have, each character has a little specialty thing it does. But I mean, that's been a really good model to borrow from for a lot of these cooperative games. So yeah, that's kind of what they do. Each person that you become, your avatar has a special skill and has action points, and you basically use up those action points either moving, picking up stuff, making an action at one of the monster's lairs to defeat this monster. And yeah, I mean, it's that whole, if you've played cooperative games before, you will slide easily into this game going, oh yeah, it borrows from this game and this game and this game. So yeah, it's definitely a game that's hitting the table more frequently than not. So that's yeah, I'm having fun. So Ian, passing it off to you. What's one of your games of late?
Well, I haven't really got to play a whole lot because it's just me and my wife, and so we can only do 2-player. And I find there's an exponential curve between how fun 2-player games are and then 3 up. I really feel that way. But one that I played, actually, I played for the first time on Board Game Arena. My friend Matt, he wanted me to play this game, so we tried it out, La Granja. And I loved it so much that I went out and found a copy and bought it. And so my wife and I have tried that out. That's a great game.
I often say if Stefan Feld and Uwe Rosenberg had a child, it would be this game.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. But there's a lot of neat little pockets to it. Like the fact that your card can be used in 4 different ways, and just all the way that all comes together, and how you use your goods, and those little crates that you can use for bonus actions. It's a slick game. I like it.
I love the player board. That's I don't usually gush about player boards, but this one is just so much fun because, like you said, that card can use in 4 different manners. So it's just like, it's like a candy store of options. Yeah. Ryan, you like La Granja just as much, and you went out and bought your own game too, didn't you?
Yeah, Ian beat me to the punch. He bought it from Amazing Stories. And just as I was like, hey, Jeff, do you have a copy of La Granja? He's like, I just sold it. I'm like, to who? And then Ian's like, I picked up a copy of La Granja from Amazing Stories. I'm like, you're the
one. That's good.
But then I managed to find a copy on
sniping.
Yeah, now I'm really happy I bought that. That just is great.
But I found a copy on a Board Game Geek auction.
Cool.
Yeah, but still, I'm the one who bought locals, so
yeah,
support
because
local.
You beat me to the.
Okay, well, Ryan.
Jeff's gonna get a good chunk of my money coming tomorrow when he opens up again.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, I'm frothing. I did some solo gaming, and I see here on the show notes here that you've got some solo gaming that you did. You want to talk about any of that there, Ryan?
Sure, I'll just pick one. I've got it on here. Like I've been playing Arkham Horror living card game. People know I like playing Arkham Horror. So of course, but another one that I've really been able to deep dive into is Tainted Grail, which is
Oh,
a
I've been
really
seeing that on
cool,
Twitter.
which is kind of like a really cool like open world sandbox type of thing where you do have an ultimate goal of what you want to do, but how you get there is going to be completely different depending on the characters that you've chosen to play as, the paths you have taken to go to certain places. It comes with a great big book that's like kind of like a journal. Like you go to a location and you have to open up this book, and all of a sudden it says, okay, now it's choose your own adventure. Do you have this skill? Nope. Do you have this? Nope. Do you have, oh yeah, you got this. So I read this passage and then I have to start choosing to do things and people that I encounter. And oh, it's got so many good things. And all it is just a bunch of cards on the table. It's very similar in the gameplay to like a game called Seventh Continent, where the whole terrain is made up by cards, and then you just go to these locations and you take actions, and then you're just trying to survive. Same thing here, but I like the story because it's kind of like this really dark Arthurian legend. And the really kind of cool thing is that there's the heroes, like the King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table have went out and they're missing. And so now you have to go out, and then another band of heroes went out and they went missing. So now it's you're the third string. Now you're going to go out and try to figure out what's happening and everything. And there's the base game has like 15 chapters to play through. I'm on chapter 8.
Holy crows.
Just on that too, chapter 8, getting up to chapter 8, I've already put in about 35-40 hours of this game. And it's just kind of, but it's got a really easy save system, as in like, oh, I'm going to take a break now. So I just kind of like record a couple things on a player sheet, and then you just tuck all the cards and all the cards that you have in play into like this little save compartment in the box. And you just kind of do it in a certain order so that when you go to play it out again, you just fold it out again, and then you just continue on going on. Like setup and take down of the game is only like maybe 5 minutes.
Cool.
Yeah, and the gameplay is so cool. Like there's a lot of people that complain about it, that it gets like kind of like grindy, where you have to grind out resources to keep going, and then you're like spend like an hour, you have to just grind out some resources so you can keep going, kind of like like those RPG type video games. But as
I was going to say, this sounds more and more like a video game the more you're talking about it. About save times and grinding and
yeah, it literally is. And then they're actually going to make I think they're talking about making a video game adaptation of this system. Now, this is just the core box. Like I've got they got the second wave of expansions coming in because I backed the Kickstarter. And so they got the second wave of like 3 more campaigns coming that I could play through.
Right on.
So that's kind of also why I want to play through it, so that I can actually go and do the other campaigns.
Nice.
Cool.
And it can be played up to 4 players, but they say the best experience is just with 1 and 2 players.
Yeah, that's usually the case with the narrative styles. Right on.
So Tainted Grail, it's really good. I really enjoy it.
Cool. Well, I know you have this game, Ryan, and I just couldn't wait to like have it, because everybody kept talking about, I kept reading all these, top solo games, and this one kept popping up on everybody's list. So I had to go and buy Spirit Island. Spirit Island, designed by R. Eric Roos, published by Greater Than Games. It plays 1 to 4. And I bought it because it's one of those highly rated solo games. And I think
it's just a highly rated game overall.
I've yet to hear anybody say ill of this game at all. So basically, depending on your player count, you are basically the spirit protecting an island and its inhabitants. I can't remember the name, slipping again. The Ruhan or something like that. But it's basically the anti-colonial game where you're the spirits of the island and you're trying to protect the indigenous inhabitants from colonization and waves of colonization. And I mean, I'm not a math guy, but I'm going to use a math word. It feels like they exponentially reproduce. It's just insane. I've yet to win this game, but the moment I'm done, I'm compelled to play it again, because the puzzle is so, I mean, so dynamic from one play to the next, just because of the different boards that you use, the different configurations of the territories, the different setup structure. I've soloed as one spirit, and I've soloed as two spirits, and doing that jump from controlling one spirit to two spirits and having the double volume on the player or on the game board. Wow, does that just turn everything onto 11 as far as gameplay goes. I'm having so much fun with this game. I know you have it, but I don't know if you've played it in a long time, and I don't know, Ian, if you've played it before. But wow,
yeah, I have actually. I played it a couple times.
Yeah. So what do you? I mean, I've only played solo. What are you guys' thoughts with like more than one player? Because I'm totally digging this game, and it's rightfully praised by everybody that I've done, with my research. So
yeah, it's really interesting. It's like you said, we always compare it to Pandemic, but this is like Pandemic on steroids, right? Because it really feels like you're just being overwhelmed. But one thing I find really interesting is how much harder it is at the beginning of the game, because once you actually start getting your engines working and each player's got their own little skills, even though it seems like there's exponential growth of the colonists, because as long as you're doing well, because you're becoming more equipped to deal with them, it actually feels like the game's getting easier and easier as it goes, which is something that's kind of rare for a board game. Like it seems like usually it gets really, really tough if you're going to lose, which, on the really tough games. But yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's really neat.
Yeah, like you said, it's been a few years because I won a copy of this from our friends Boards Alive. When they did a contest a number of years ago to win a copy of it, and I remember I played it quite a bit when I first got it. And I've been trying to remember, like, when you purchased it, I've been trying to go back and like reread the rule. I'm like, I remember this thing. I remember having like a bunch of little moving parts and the card play and trying to get the certain synergies and getting things going. And I haven't gotten back to figuring it all out again. But definitely now that I know that you can, maybe we should do like
an online
Skype
play
call, like a online play. I'll have my board set up. You can have your board set up, and we'll be both moving the pieces at the same time.
Well, that's one thing I wanted to close on was because I've played by myself and two spirits, but the synergy, if you have more than two spirits, the synergy with those spirits that, one can set them up and one can knock them down kind of thing. Or that's what I'm so fired up to see and explore. Like I barely touched the surface on this game. So Spirit Island, Ian, hand it off to you.
Good one.
Have you guys ever played the crayon reel games?
I've heard of them.
You know what they are? So
are those things that you get at like Boston Pizza for your kids to play with?
No, those are placemats.
It was my birthday a few weeks ago, and so obviously there's not much you can do on your birthday, and so Kimberly asked what I wanted to do. Well, I wanted to play Euro Rails because it's a longer game. But it's one of my absolute favorite games. And for a long time, I considered it my favorite game. And it's a train game. You have to connect cities, and then your train moves and delivers goods to cities for money. But you make your rails with actual crayons. You're actually drawing on the board. It's got an erasable board. We only ever play 2 players. It can play up to like 6. You would never want to play that. That's insane. But it's just a nice, relaxing way to spend an evening. I love the crayon rail games. We have Euro Rails, which is set in Europe, and then the Empire Builder is the original one, and that one's set in North America. And they don't have Saskatoon on there. They have Regina on the map, not Saskatoon.
I'm flipping my table
It
right
was
now.
the capital.
But yeah, I love Euro Rails. It's a classic.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I just pulled it up here on BGG, and yeah, it's got a really nice little aesthetic to it.
So what's the kind of shtick mechanism to it?
It's very basic pick up and deliver. The fun part is actually building your network, right? Because it's not like something like Steam, where there's set routes and like that. You can go anywhere you want. You can make your Rails go anywhere you want. You just got to pay for it, right? You can send it all the way to the end of Spain. You can send it up to Norway. But just that kind of openness is what I love about it so much.
Neat.
Completely decide where you want your network to be.
You said pickup and delivery, and I immediately went, what?
Norm, you got enough pickup and deliver games.
This episode of Cardboard Conjecture is proudly sponsored by Dragon's Den Games, located in the Louis VIII Mall on 8th Street in Saskatoon. Swing by Dragon's Den Games and let Darren, Al, and the awesome staff help you out in search for great board games, role-playing games, miniature systems, and all of the related accessories. Be a part of their gaming communities that have scheduled events in their great gaming area. Dragon's Den Games, Louis VIII Mall on 8th Street in Saskatoon. And we are back. Thank you for continuing to listen. We're gonna thank you for staying on this long. We're gonna start off a segment that's brand new, and it's the new, like a news on a topic of interest. I don't know if that's going to be our official thing so far, but we'll come up with something. Brian, you've got some pretty interesting news I see here.
I think we've decided that I think I'm going to be the news guy. So during this whole pandemic thing, the BGG Golden Geek Awards were handed out. Congratulations to Wingspan for winning Best Podcast. I mean, everything underneath the sun. I did not see that coming by a long shot, but I don't know. I have this year was kind of really my sticking point about the Golden Geek Awards. I don't know, their whole system, like how a game gets nominated. It's kind of weird because it's kind of like open. It's open to the community. The community nominates the games for the categories. So, like, for example, the one that really drove me a little bit bonkers was that Wingspan won most innovative game.
Yeah, that was
there's nothing innovative about that engine building system.
Is the only innovative thing is that it was about birds.
Yeah, theme. It was the first of its theme, right?
Yeah, but this was a problem. Like, Wingspan was an extremely popular game last year. Extremely, like it was like selling out print run after print run. And people are talking about it, and the game is available in like pet shops where they sell birds and stuff like that. And it's like it went bonkers. I don't know. I think just BGG overall, they have to kind of do something where they kind of like they have to be able to filter the games that get nominated into some of these categories. Just my 2 cents. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this because I could probably spend an hour ranting and raving about it. And you had mentioned. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, because I was just going to say, and even there was a short list winner. Norm mentioned one of the. I didn't actually look at the podcast winners.
Oh,
I think it was Heavy Cardboard won the best overall.
Yeah,
which is well deserved because Heavy Cardboard's got an amazing podcast.
Yeah,
congratulations to them. And but you said that one of the shortlist ones had.
They only had 6 episodes and like random. I mean, you would think that something that made the shortlist or runners up would have, a bit more of a track record than 6 episodes. So right away I thought, oh man, this is just a popularity contest.
But I have to listen to them. Maybe it's really those 6 episodes are probably really quality content. I don't know. I have to listen to it.
I mean, I have listened to them, and there's nothing revolutionary. There's nothing that, it's sort of like, oh wow, this completely sets itself apart from everybody else. I mean, it's just the same kind of typical format that all of these podcasts have been kind of using. So yeah, no, I mean, absolutely have a listen to it and make an opinion. But I just kind of thought, oh wow, that's interesting. And I think it's because they have a YouTube channel and they have more notoriety as video reviewers than they do as podcasters. So I think they're riding on their own coattails kind of thing, right?
So like if they had a category for like YouTube content,
yeah, then I'd be fine with that. Yeah, it's sort of like an actor who puts out a music album and wins the Grammy for it.
So just change the category to content creators. And
absolutely.
There we go.
Yeah.
Or have 2 categories. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or have 2 categories. I don't know. BGG's kind of stuck in their ways.
I'll be honest with you though, Ryan. I'm kind of looking back at the old winners for the Golden Geek Awards.
Okay.
And man, I don't know. They kind of nail it every year. Like if you're thinking about the games that really end up standing out, I mean, Wingspan is absolutely that game.
Now, when you say standing out, do you mean from a monetary sales point of view, or from?
I just mean from a notoriety point of
hype
view.
kind of
that really makes an impression.
Yeah.
We've got Brute the next year, Gloomhaven the year before that, like Scythe the year before that. These are the games. If you were to say, what do you think would be the top game in 2016? You'd probably say, well, I guess Terraforming Mars was that year too, but you'd say Terraforming Mars or Scythe. I mean, they're picking pretty good winners. I don't know. I'm kind of on board with this award.
Well, I'm not going to argue that as far as
I'm not going to argue. Yeah.
But the category classification, like you said there, Ryan, of innovative, or I think, didn't they win best card game? And I'm like, well, that's
they are a card game. It is a card game.
No, but I mean,
I'm not going to argue with that.
No, but I just from my own memory, that was like they won like multiple categories, and some of them aren't arguable at all, right? But then some are kind of like, well, how did they get into this category, and how did they win it, right? So, and I could be playing devil's advocate.
That's just the thing too. It was just that Wingspan in all its glory. Congratulations to Stonemaier Games,
absolutely.
Elizabeth Hargrave, and all that. It was a fantastic game.
Art is awesome in that game too. Yeah,
it was a fantastic game. It was just that it won categories that I didn't think it was going to ever win. Like I would not like if I say Wingspan, do you say solo game? It won best solo game of the year. That was just another example. It was just but maybe there are people out there that just play just the solo game. I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what? Weirdly enough, Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, does Broadway musicals. So you can't categorize it. Okay. You can't pigeonhole anything here.
I'm done with this topic. I'm probably going to get a whole bunch of flack. People probably already hate me.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like, there's definitely some questionable stuff on here.
But
like, yeah, innovative is the one that stands out for sure.
As long as the mind doesn't win anything anymore, it's not even a game.
As far as
this year.
As far as the best podcast award, even looking at those past winners, that one almost seems like it's your turn. It's time for you to win this award.
Well, that's because what they say.
Look back, yeah.
If you win it, you can't win it.
Yeah, previous winners can't be nominated.
Yeah, like the Dice Tower obviously was the first winner to that. That makes sense. Secret Cabal was right after that. Like those are the two biggies, right?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of seems like it's
maybe it's an achievement
you
award.
Put out a lot of years of this. Good job. And Heavy Cardboard, I think, is a very worthy winner.
Absolutely.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Yeah.
I've lost lots of my money because of heavy cardboard.
I've learned a lot of Vital Lacerda games because of heavy cardboard.
Okay,
So
we've already spent way more time on this than I thought.
Sorry,
I'm
Ryan.
I'm more curious about your next topic here, the small world shtick.
What you mean? You have not been asking for the combination of Small World and World of Warcraft ever?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't do either
maybe
of
if this
those.
was maybe if this was Ryan like 8 or 9 years ago. 8 or 9 years ago, but like, hey, oh yeah, Small World and World of Warcraft. What? Yeah, okay, I'll buy that.
So Days
I
of
don't hear
Wonder.
about people. I
They're
don't hear
go-
people talking about World of Warcraft anymore.
Are they actually going to put this out?
Yeah, no, it's coming. It's coming in the summertime here.
Oh,
I think they've even set a release date. I don't have it here.
They've got cover art. They've got MRSP. Yeah, it's coming out.
well, you know what
It's
they
a
did.
thing.
They did Catan and Game of Thrones, and I mean, a lot of people said that it was a half decent game. So who knows? I'm
It's
not a
pretty
big
big
small
score for
world
Phase
fan.
of Wonder, though. Like, it's a pretty big property.
That is a massive IP.
But
that is a
as-
massive IP.
But as you did point out, it's from the past, though, right? So maybe this is
maybe
its
World
new
of Warcraft.
infusion.
Maybe I'm just out of touch. Am I out of touch with the times? Is World of Warcraft still a thing? Like I teach in high school. I don't hear anybody talking about World of Warcraft.
I have no
Fortnite,
idea.
maybe, but not yeah. So this is
So-
you're a little gobsmacked with this one, aren't you?
Well, I kind of want it because I have everything else Small World. If we're gonna go back to the
Oh, no.
expansion episode,
Oh, no.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
but it was like the original Small World has orcs in it. Small World of Warcraft also has orcs, but with a different power. Like
Yeah. The thing with Small World, what made Small World appealing was that they took the most generic fantasy stuff and, made it funny, and then you can put spins on it. I think once they started getting to the expansions, they get ridiculous. That kind of took away from that a little bit. And I think this is definitely going to take away from that. I don't know. I'm not interested.
Cool.
I
I'm
love
yeah,
Small World. But
I think I'm more excited to-
we'll see about it.
I'm more excited to talk about the next topic, Ryan.
Yeah, the one that just came out today.
Yeah.
News breaking today on May 18th, the time of this recording.
And I feel
The
so
Spiel and Kennerspiel de Jars nominations were released.
I feel so
and-
dumbfounded.
Well, this is like the first year I'm like, usually I've played a number of these games.
I know,
and
right?
I've only played one of them.
I've heard of one of them.
So the Spiel and Kennerspiel de Jars. So the Spiel nominations were My City by Rainer Knizia, Nova Luna by Uwe Rosenberg, and Pictures by Daniela and Christian Stroh. I have not heard of Pictures.
No, neither have I.
I have no information about it. Nova Luna is an okay tile laying abstract puzzly type game. I was kind of surprised that it was a nomination. Like, we like it. Okay, I own it. It fills the niche there. My City is a very interesting game that's been on my radar because it's supposed to be a kind of like a Sim City city building legacy type game.
And
This
it's
is
Reiner.
Knizia.
It's Reiner.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Knizia, and like this will be like the first time that the Spiel, not the Kennerspiel, but the Spiel would be a legacy nomination. Like Pandemic Legacy Season 1 won the Kennerspiel when it was around, but that was the Kenner, not the actual Spiel,
Yeah.
which is supposed to be the German game of the year.
Yeah.
They also had like some runners up here, like Color Brain, Draftosaurus, Fox in the Forest. Fox in the Forest kind of surprised me because that's an older game now.
Is
So
do they
Kitchen
mean
Rush.
duets though? Because duets came out.
Maybe
this
they
year.
did,
I
but
think
they
that-
didn't put duet. It just said Fox
Yeah.
in the Forest. The Kennerspiel nominations were Cartographers, Role Player Tale, The Crew, and The King's Dilemma. Now, all these games have been on my watch list, as in like, ooh, that sounds really interesting. Ooh, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah,
Especially the Crew.
I own Cartographers, and yeah, it's awesome. The Crew, yeah. Go ahead. I think I agree with everything you're going to say.
Well, it's kind of like a scenario based trick taking game, where it's like
Cooperative.
It's a cooperative trick taking game where you have to meet your mission's goal, but your mission's goal is that like, hey, when I'm taking tricks, I need to be able that I collect this card. Like I need to have this card in my hand at the end of the game. And Ian might also have a thing that says I have to also have the most of this suit by the end of this game. And if we all meet our goals, we successfully complete the mission. We get to go on to the next mission type of trick taking. And they say it comes with 50 missions to play through.
Yeah. Which is kind of cool.
Sounds really crazy. And like the MSRP on this thing is like $20. Like it's supposed to be just a small little card game with a little booklet of missions that you have to play through.
Well, and Cartographers is a small thing too. Yeah. I mean, the Cartographers takes, I would say Cartographers takes that silver and gold polyomino fill out space kind of thing. It takes it to the next level by giving it a narrative backstory in the world of that role player and lockup. So that's
kind of like the flip and fill.
Yeah. And it's pretty cool. I like it. It has that the same scoring mechanism as the other Isle of Skye, where it's like on the first round it's AB, on the second round BC scores, and on the third round CD, and on the fourth round DA card scores. So you have all these variabilities as you're going. So it makes it there's a lot of change up and there's a lot of quick decisions to make. So I'm a big fan of Cartographers. The Crew, I agree. I've heard so many cool things about the King's Dilemma. I saw the Shut Up and Sit Down review, and it just made my brain go, this sounds fun.
Well, I just listened to our cohort in Saskatchewan here, the of Dice and Men, just released their newest episode as well of their podcast, and they were talking about they were playing King's Dilemma via like kind of like a play by forum type thing with email and whatnot during these times and everything. It really sounds like a neat experience.
I actually just listened to that today too.
Yeah,
it sounds like a turn a day or something. They're doing something weird like that, hey?
Yeah, and it's just kind of like a simple thing where you're leaders of a house and some sort of dilemma is facing the king of that time, and you have to vote whether or not this certain scenario is going to, like, it's going to be like a thumbs up, thumbs down type thing, and you can influence people with money and fame and whatnot.
I think there's a whole bunch of asymmetrical objectives and powers too. Like some families are driven by this and other families are driven by something else, which narratively drives the story. I've heard some people talk about it being being a fun role-playing experience too.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I got out of it too. And our good friend Rob from Metal Meeple and Beer, he's been playing it too. I've been following his Twitter. They've been playing it via Zoom for the past little while too. So it just seems interesting. Do I have any predictions of what's going to win? No, because I haven't played.
Yeah.
I haven't played it. If I was going to do a guess, maybe this will be the first year that a legacy game wins the spiel in that My City. It just has a cool description to it, and maybe it's just going to be like that's something new.
Yeah,
that kind of like breaks the mold for like Nova Luna doesn't do anything new. It's not groundbreaking. It's a good game. It's not groundbreaking though.
Well, and I looked up at this pictures and it says it's a deduction party game. Each player simultaneously tries to copy a picture with one of 5 different materials: building blocks, sticks and stones, icon cards, color cubes. Each player decides which of the 16 displayed pictures has been copied. The game ends after 5 rounds. It sounds pretty straightforward. I'm not a big social deduction kind of Well, that's not really a social deduction either. I don't know. This is just such a weird thing.
Yeah, it is. Now I was more interested in the recommendations from the Kenner Spiel. Like that had Paladins of the West Kingdom was a recommended, Underwater Cities was a recommendation for Kenner Spiel. I can see why Underwater Cities wasn't, because that's probably a little bit meatier of a
Yeah.
game that usually gets nominated into this category.
Well, then it's a game that can go 2.5+ hours, and that's usually not one of these, spiel games, because that's a long haul game.
So that was our look at the news this time around.
Yeah. All right.
Golden Geek Awards, New Days of Wonder, and the Spiel nominations.
This episode of Cardboard Conjecture is brought to you by MrDiceGuy.com. Saskatoon's first online board game store, MrDiceGuy.com, carries a large selection of the newest titles and a great selection of the classics and the current favorite board games for you and your family. Check out their used and previously played games for sale and pick up a great game for a great price at MrDiceGuy.com. And we're back from that little intermission prelude. We're gonna find some music for that. So we're on to the featured review, and I'm gonna hand it off to you guys because you have way more depth of knowledge and experience talking about this feature than I do. I'm happy with it. I've played it, but if it's gonna be a deep dive, then I'm gonna let you guys play in the deep end of the pool. So Ryan and Ian, take it away.
Sure. So I think we decided that instead of doing like a deep dive of an actual board game, because we've been kind of playing what we've had in our collections already, but we have been in this time of social isolation and whatnot, rediscover this notion of online board gaming. And there's a number of different sites out there, but one that's kind of really like stuck with me, and I think Ian, you kind of started into this. Have you? Well, we're talking about Board Game Arena.
Yeah.
And this is you're kind of new. You were newer into Board Game Arena.
Yeah, a few months. I joined up before the pandemic, but yeah, it's only lately that the last couple of months I've really been playing a lot.
Yeah, like I've been active for quite some time, and it has been a platform that I've went in every now and then. Like, oh, there's nothing going on. There's not a game night. Jen's tired. She's just gonna watch a TV show. I kind of want it, but I don't want to set up a board game for myself. I don't want to do a solo mode, so I'll just go online and I'll play a game every now and then. So Board Game Arena, if you're not familiar with it by now, which I now think 70,000 people now know about what Board Game Arena is. It's just an online platform for playing board games digitally. The interface is designed so that it's not open. The games are programmed to follow the rules, so you can't cheat and you can't do things that you're not supposed to do. So most of the time, it's just kind of you kind of point and click on an action or something like that, and then you have to confirm your mana or something like that. It's free. It's absolutely 100% free to create an account and start playing. Some features are only accessible to users who pay for a premium membership. So like I'm a premium member now, just because I wanted access to some of these other features. Are you a premium member, Ian?
Yeah.
It was only like what, $2, $3 a month.
Yeah.
And they just kind of just bill you all in one lump sum, which is end up being like $34 or something like that. And you just get an extra couple of things that you get to do when you're a premium member. And you can play it on multiple things. You can play it on there's like a home computer. You can play it on a laptop, a desktop computer. You can play it on your phone. You can play it on your tablet. It's not an app. You have to actually go into your web browser to play it, but they've made it accessible that you can play it pretty much anywhere. What's available? So currently they say they have 175 games on Board Game Arena. That seems pretty
Impressive.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's impressive because I only play like a select dozen or so. But 175 is pretty impressive. So there's a very large variety. But some people are really surprised that they go on there and the game that they want to play is not on Board Game Arena. And that's just only because of a couple of things. Because Board Game Arena, they have to have the authorization of the digital rights from the game, and they also have to have a software developer to actually make the game as well. So if your game is not there, it's because of one of those two things. They didn't get the authorization for the game, or they do have the authorization of the game, but they don't have somebody to program the game. And what they do is they just kind of like contract out people. If they have a license, they can contract out a programmer to make up the game for them. So if your game is not on there, it's because of one of those two things. That's pretty much all that is. To play a game, you
because
just
on the
search
main
it.
page, if you scroll down to the bottom right-hand corner, they actually have a list of the games that are most asked for. It's not available right now. I'm pretty sure Agricola is at the top of that list, though. So that's kind of cool that they had that, I thought.
And now it's interesting too because a lot of these companies, they are like a popular game like Agricola. Agricola has an app, and I think like a company like Asmodee right now would probably much rather see revenue sales from an app rather than revenue sales from a website where most of their members are free members. There's not, because you don't necessarily have to go behind a paywall to play all of the games on Board Game Arena. So, but on that note, Terra Mystica is on Board Game Arena, and Terra Mystica has an app as well. And there's multiple places you can play Terra Mystica online. So to play a game, you just search amongst all that are available. You can even save your favorites. You can create your account. You can save your favorites. It has a really neat feature where you can play with other people at the same quote unquote skill level as you, because they kind of use this what they refer to as like an ELO ranking system. So like the more times you win at a game, you're going to get kind of like some points, and you kind of your skill level goes up. And then you can, when you create a game, you can kind of select, hey, I only want to play with strong and expert players because I'm a strong and expert player. But if I'm just a beginner / a newer player, I can also set the settings that I can only just play with newer and beginner players as well. Which is quite handy because I am neither an expert at anything. Are you an expert at anything yet?
I don't know. I've got a pretty good Sushi Go rating. That's all I know right now.
Oh man, my can't stop rating is like I've been playing it in the kind of like the competitive mode, and I'm almost broken into the elite.
Nice.
I'm at diamond, but the next level is elite, and I haven't broken the barrier. As soon as I wanted to break the barrier, I lose a game, and I get kind of like set back. But it's kind of like neat. So one of the things too is most of these games you don't have to know the rules. There's some games have kind of like a tutorial mode where you don't your ranking's not going to get affected if you end up playing the game. Of course, if you have experience with playing the physical game, it's definitely going to help you try to understand the interface and what you have to do. Yeah. But all the games have links to the rules, so that you can kind of go and you can like read a digital PDF of or it'll take you to the Board Game Geek page. You can even watch people play too. You can become a spectator. You just kind of click on a game and you can just kind of just watch people play and see what's going on, which is kind of neat. I don't do that often or at all.
I just do if somebody I know is playing a game and I'm just want to go see what they're doing. That's really the only thing.
And then heckle them from afar.
Yeah, although they turned off that you can't make comments as a spectator anymore.
Oh. Another kind of cool
makes sense.
That's actually probably true. Good for you, BGA. Another kind of cool feature is that you can you can toggle off if you want to play in real time versus turn-based, which I think we're a lot of people come to Board Game Arena. They want to play in real time. They want to play the game start to finish in one sitting, which is not a bad thing. You can do this in all these other sites. Like I've made a mention, like I've got an account at Yukata and at Boitejo, and you can play in real time with those people. But it's more set up as like a kind of like a what they call a turn based, where it's like, hey, I take a turn, then I have to wait until somebody else takes their turn. That could be like an hour from now. That could be a day from now, type thing. And so like a game of Can't Stop, which should be done in like a couple minutes, could take 3 days to complete if it's played as turn based. So a lot of people come on to Board Game Arena to play in real time, which is kind of really kind of cool. I also got to mention here, they have that ranking thing. Like, oh yeah, you can play in a simple game. You can just play a game. You can play in arena mode, which is kind of like their competitive type thing, where you can go up levels in rankings and you play people as your same ranking and stuff like that. And then every now and then, I haven't played with this yet, but I want to try it, is that they can join tournaments for certain games.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Yeah, so I can't speak to the tournament play, but they have it all built in that you can play as competitively as you want.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything, Ian?
I think that sums it up.
About what Board Game Arena is? Yeah, no, I'm just looking, but yep, no, I got everything. Okay, let's share some of our thoughts, because I have been playing it for a little while now. You've been playing it for a little bit. We've played together a few times on this. This is actually how I enjoyed my birthday, because I also had a pandemic birthday, and so you and our friend Lane logged in. We played a couple games.
Right.
I enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
I think it's
like
really
the fact
good
that
for playing with people you know too, right? Like they just all sign up for an account and you can play. Like obviously and it's really easy to find your friends and to just add them onto a game. That's one thing that I love about this is I've got my friends. Whoever I can see who's online, I can go set up a game, click on them so that they're the only ones invited to the game, and we go. It's great.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've started like creating, like I've seen Twitter posts of people starting to post their handles, their usernames, and so like I've started generating some new friends that way too, through the Twitterverse. I really enjoy that part of it too. And if you want to play a premium game, only one person that you know has to have the premium membership to set up the premium games.
Yep, that's right. So that's
because I don't think it really explained what all the premium thing does is that some games have a tag that are premium, and you have to be a premium member to create a game.
Yeah, that's right.
Under those ones. If you're not a premium member, you can still play those games, but you have to wait. Yeah. You have to wait for a game to be created and then try to luck out and get in. Type of deal.
Yeah, I really like it. When everything first started going down and everybody was like isolated and it was cold outside still, it was good because there's a group of people that I've met through Board Game Geek that were on this site. And so we kind of like created our own little group for those first couple of weeks, and we'd go and play a whole bunch of games and kind of break the boredom of being stuck at home. It was great. And then I eventually got other people I knew on, and yeah.
Yeah, I like the fact too that with these games the rules are built in, so like we can't go off the rails. I can't bump pieces. I can't do anything like that. Draw cards when I'm not supposed to. Start with all my workers when I'm not supposed to.
Yeah, all that does is that just tells me how many rules I get wrong when I'm actually playing the games. I have noticed so many rules mistakes that I've made from this. It's embarrassing. Almost every game.
I know there was a game of La Granja that I played with Norm, where I played a card, and then I came to the situation where I wanted to use the card's power, and it said I couldn't use it. I'm like, what are you talking about? Of course I can use it. Of course I can use it. Why are you not letting me? Okay, I said this is a bug in the game. Then all of a sudden I read the card closely again. I'm like, oh, it is actually doing exactly what the card actually says, and I have been playing this card wrong for So like I know what you mean there, Ian. It's like, yeah, it's pointing out to like, oh, this is the way we should have been playing this game all along.
Yep. Yeah. It's embarrassing.
If you allow yourself the idea that you've made a mistake in the past.
Oh yeah, because we've never made a mistake playing a game ever.
K2 was the big one. I've played K2 for years. It wasn't until I played it online that I figured out that the way I was dealing with the hand management was entirely wrong, which is a pretty core aspect of the game.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, it was too. Remember, it was a game where we were playing, not on Board Game Arena, but we were playing Cosmic Encounter, and I told you about the flare cards.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, that's not. It can't be it. Read it in the rule book. And we're like, wow.
Yeah,
I was actually right for once. What's my next point here? Oh, most games, when the end of the game happens, this one really kind of irks you a little bit, Ian.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
When the end of the game happens, it happens. Like the end of the game, that final move thing, boom. It says game's over. This is the winner. This is the loser. There's none of the buildup of, okay, I got to calculate my points for this, and I got to calculate my points for this, and and then finally we get to a winner. No, most of the games this happens instantaneously. There's no buildup.
That's what
happens. Some games are good at this. Carcassonne actually scores everything individually. You get to see everything play out. I really like that. But something like Seven Wonders, it's like, boom, here's your score. Well,
Race for the Galaxy and Roll for the Galaxy do the same thing.
I'm not going to. Oh, sorry, Norm.
I noticed with our game of Le Grand that, and all the solo plays that I've played, that it's like just a snap and here's your results. And to me, it was that feeling of, okay, you're done eating. Here's the door. Bye. See you later.
Exactly.
Close the door behind. It's like, wait. I want to revel. I want to savor this game, but I got to go now. Okay. Back to main menu. We are going to take a moment to introduce our newest sponsor, Breakout Escape Rooms and Board Game Lounge on Faithful Avenue in Saskatoon. Breakout Escape Rooms is the largest escape room facility in Saskatchewan, currently with 4 escape games to choose from, something for every player and every group size. In addition to their escape room games, they have an impressive board game lounge with hundreds of titles to choose from.
I'm not going to bury the lead. There is no circumstance where I would choose a virtual game like Board Game Arena over a physical game with people. There's no instance that I would pick digital.
Yeah.
Ever. And this is a big reason why. Because you're really, you need to take that time to kind of let the game play out and see what you did and either take pride in it or take shame in it, depending on how you did.
And if you're the kind of player in a group, if you're the kind of player in a group where that's part of the fun of sitting back and going, on turn 4 when you did this, I was thinking about this, and when that's part of the game that I love is that post-mortem discussion of oh man, when you hit me, you don't realize how bad you hit me, you crippled me for the whole game. That's sort of behind the scenes of the game itself. That's what I love at the end of it, and I'm with you that that's what I wrote in my notes, is that this by far does not replace what appeals to me with board gaming, is that social interaction and that tactile sense of flicking a card when you're thinking, or tapping your board, or that examination of what's out in front of you and the people watching them examine the same thing and seeing if you can hit a tell or not, right?
Even the matter of the payoff, because if we take Race for the Galaxy, when I get those 6-cost cards, I'm excited to see how they're going to play out at the end, right? I'm excited to see and count them up and see just how good those cards were for me. I don't get that, right? Because all of a sudden, snap, here's my total score. Seven Wonders, you go through every category, everyone reads out what they get, say, what? You got 50 in the science cards? How did you do that? You lose all that. It just gets lost.
Yeah.
But that said, there are some games that are actually kind of, I think they're catching on. Carcassonne was a good one. I can't remember.
The newer ones. It's the newer games
Yeah.
that they've recently added
Yeah.
that are kind of like King Domino does really well in
Right.
in the categories of the different land types too. I'm gonna piggyback on Norm's thing of the tactile. I miss the tactile thing. I've been a card player for most of my gaming career, and I missed the flicking of me shuffling and playing with my hand of cards. And I
Yeah.
miss the shuffling of the cards and my card. For me personally, it's in the feel of the card sleeves on most of my games. I miss that. I do miss that quite a bit. And that's why I play my Arkham Horror card game, because I get to sit there and sometimes I think I just sit there and I just flick with my cards and I'm not even doing anything.
You're self-soothing. Well, and I did make a point in the notes that when you and I played La Granja and we had our phones, or at least I had my phone on a Zoom, where we were playing the game online, and then on another format we were having this social aspect, and that was a placebo enough for me to have that somewhat well-rounded out board gaming experience without those criteria that I said before.
If you're a premium member on Board Game Arena, and I think Ian, you mentioned this too, they do have voice chats within the Board Game Arena, and they also have, I think, a video chat within Board Game Arena that you can use. I know I haven't played around with that because we've usually we just set up a Zoom, and we've kind of just conversed that way and everything. Have you tried it much, Ian?
The voice chat works fine. The only thing is that you kind of need everybody in that chat. So as long as everybody can get onto that, it's fine. You don't really want to leave somebody out, though, right? Like, you don't want 3 out of the 4 people being able to talk. Otherwise, we just kind of cancel it.
My immediate
sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Ian. You weren't.
The video is just a really tiny screen, so we don't do the video very much, but the audio quite a bit. Yeah.
My immediate speculation would be that that their server traffic, as well with the games running, if you add video and audio streams, dependencies on that too, you're going to be bogging down. Something's going to get bogged down, right? Yeah. And so I didn't mind using our video chat outside of the game, just so that we didn't bog stuff like that up.
Well, and their users, the number of users that have been directed to this site because of our global situation has been astronomical. Like those first few weeks when they were not prepared for the influx of the number of users, and then they did it right. They went in and said, okay, if this is going to be it, they went and changed their protocol and got the server space. So now, hey, if there is 70,000 people on Board Game Arena, it's still running relatively smooth.
We can support it,
yeah. So they did it right. They saw the demand. A place like Board Game Arena is going to really see like I wonder how many premium memberships they sold during this time. Like that's revenue that they probably couldn't have predicted.
Well, and I'm also looking at your next notes here in regards to discussion, and I think that tails into that next idea. Like they've learned as a website that they have to get more servers, they have to get more power in the system, and with the whole access, the user, like your interface with the website itself is probably going to get better too as more people are on it, and the designers of the website start fine-tuning their platform, because like all the prompts that you're saying, the scrolling and it can become repetitive, but once there's a group of people that are familiar, that it's going to
that next point was all about the actual using of Board Game Arena. Like I've only just played it on my laptop. Like I have a fairly decent sized screen on my laptop. I couldn't imagine playing some of these games on like my tablet or even let alone my phone.
Oh, people do that?
It can support it. It does support it on that. You can play it on a tablet and you can play it on a phone. But the amount of scrolling that you would end up having to do, or maybe the screen is just so small, I wouldn't been able to. I couldn't fathom. Like I know I have some friends that I've been playing it, they play it on their iPad and everything. But even then, like they're like, "Where are you seeing that?" I'm like, "Well, you have to. It's just." I said, "It's right there for me."
The
Oh no,
interfaces
we had
might
to
be
scroll.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that might be
So
something they learn with the increased demand of usability, right?
so, and it's just like the nature of some of these games. If you want to see another player's tableau, like in Race for the Galaxy, and I want to see Ian, I have to scroll down the screen to get to Ian's tableau and just see what he's been doing, and then I have to scroll back up. La Granja is worse for this because La Granja's got the main board, and then there's my play area and my board, and then the cards that I have, and then it's just
I
kind
just
of
don't
cascades.
worry about what other people are doing.
No, multiplayer solitaire at best.
Yeah, I just let that go.
But for what it is right now, it's been a pretty decent substitute for playing some games that we enjoy physically and being able to play them with people. Like I can play a game with Ian, I can play a game with Norm, and we can communicate via Zoom. The technology that we have nowadays, I couldn't imagine going through a pandemic and not having like the internet.
Well, we'd be reading a lot more books, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, it's been good. Like I still can't wait to have people over again to play games. I'm itching for
Well, no,
that.
you just got your basement. You just got your basement renovated.
I know. And then if you look at the last games I bought before this, it's like Dune, For Sale, and Dead of Winter, which aren't really 2-player games and kind of need a big group. So
you're going to need a table that has seating that's 6 feet separated from each person.
I guess so. Yeah. Oh, well.
Man.
Yeah. What are some games you guys have been playing on there?
Oh gosh. So I have a very extensive list. Like I have a massive section of games that I've saved as my favorites.
Yeah, I do too.
They're all they're all games that like I own or I have played. Like none of them are really any outside of that. But like we mentioned, we've played La Granja. Like that's just a brand new to Board Game Arena too. Like it just came out. Like,
I wonder,
not too long ago.
That really makes me wonder because I think about me and how I experienced this game and said, hey, I want this, and I bought it. I wonder how much this site exposes people to these games so that they want to have it. Like,
it'd be interesting to see the sales numbers. Yeah,
I'd be curious.
And I've seen lots of discussions about that too, where people are like, oh, this never replaces. But I liked Board Game Arena before too, where I could actually I could play a game that I don't actually own. Like I was playing Russian Railroads on Board Game Arena before I ever found a physical copy. And I only played it and then I went hunting for it when it did come out. So like I like to play Russian Railroads. Roll for the Galaxy is a game that I never got to play very often, and now I get to play it lots on Board Game Arena.
Yeah, that's a good
one. Again, it's like not a great 2-player game. I like playing with lots of other people. Clans of Caledonia has a great solo mode to it, and I have the physical game. I could set it up, but the setup of that game is quite cumbersome. I could just load it into Board Game Arena and it's all good to go for me. So I played the solo mode on there quite a bit. I could go on for, I'm not going to take up much more time of like some of my favorite games. Zolkin plays actually really quite snappy.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
On Board Game Arena. Well, except for it has that very end game. The end game is just all of a sudden.
Well, just before we forget, why don't you just say if you want other people to friend you on there? What's your Board Game Arena username?
Ooh, my username is Mista Rao. So MISTARAU.
Like gangsta Rao.
It's very gangsta. It's my teaching gangsta name, Mista Rao.
Cool.
Ian, what have you been playing?
I thought I'd mentioned a few games that I actually learned how to play on the site. Because like I said, I had a kind of a group at the start there that we play all these neat short games. We played Six Nimmt, which is a card game. Have you guys played it?
I've not.
I have not.
It's a pretty neat little card game with a ton of cards, and you're filling up these rows together. And you're trying not to take the rows. Like it's one where you start with points and then your points go down as you collect cards, and you don't want that to happen, right? Because whoever gets to 0, that ends the game. That's been a lot of fun. And Saboteur is the game I discovered. It's one where you're trying to mine through this mine and you're adding cards, but 2 of the people are saboteurs and they're trying to stop you from getting to the gold. And so the way the mechanics work and who's playing what card to try to figure out who the bad guys are is really neat. So you need like at least 5 or 6 people, but that's been a pretty cool one. I like it a lot.
Cool. Yeah, there's other games on here that I see that I've kind of like bookmarked that I kind of want to play. Like there's Ink and Gold.
Yeah,
is
that's
on
a good
here.
one too.
I want to play. I've always wanted to, and so I'll get there at some point in time. Oh, I've got so many. This is the platform where I learned how to play Seasons.
Oh yeah.
That card game of like Magic and whatnot. Sushi Go has always been a nice one where you just you can pump out like 3 or 4 games in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
It's always been fun. I get my butt handed to me in Stone Age quite a bit. There's some players out there that are on a whole nother level.
Oh yeah. That's why I tend to only play with people I know, even on this site.
Yeah. One I want to play more of on here is Innovation. It's a little card game by Innovation's on Board Game Arena. We should play it, Negan.
Oh, yeah. I played that at ToonCon this year, and I hadn't played it for years. Brett has a copy, and we haven't played that in years, and I rediscovered it, and I learned how much I like it. I kind of want to buy it, actually.
Tobago's on here.
Nice.
So many. There's tons of great games.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with what's on here already. Puerto Rico's on here.
That's the last one I played on here. Yeah.
Yeah, Kalis is on here. The 3rd edition and the 4th edition versions of Through the Ages. But
yeah, it's a good
so
site,
many
sure.
so many good games. So my overall impression is that it's still pretty good. It's still something I'll probably use even after all of this is done, and for the same reasons that I was doing it before. Like I before this whole thing started, I looked back when was the last time that I actually played a game on here, and it was like 2018. It was like the last time I actually like played a game on Board Game Arena before all of this. So like I don't play it very often. Like again, it was just something just to pass some time because I didn't have a game night to go to, and there's nothing to do around the house here. So if this was a physical board game, I'd probably put it on the top shelf.
It suits the purpose.
Top shelf experience.
There you go.
Yeah. Top shelf experience.
Cool.
And like I said, they're just been getting better. Like they've been learning with all of this. And so I want to see where they go with this. I want to see what new things they incorporate onto this.
That what's next question. What's next? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
well, this seems like a really good spot to wrap up a very productive episode. You got anything to close off with, Ryan?
Not much. Thank you to all of our healthcare providers and our emergency service people out there that are still in the front lines.
Absolutely.
You guys are number one in our books. Everybody else out there, hope you've been staying safe, and play a game here and there. Try to keep a lot of the big things about this too is trying to keep your mental well-being under wraps.
Yeah.
Like being stuck inside a house almost 24/7 for 7 days a week is quite cumbersome, and especially those that have children and you're trying to work from home with children.
Yeah.
Hats off to all the at-home working parents that are also trying to homeschool their children out there. It's fun. I don't know how many times that my kids have been in on my video calls with my students, and my students just can't get over how cute the kids are, and then we can't get anything done.
Cool.
But yeah, hopefully everybody's staying safe out there. We're going to get through this. It'll be over soon.
Oh yeah, we'll get through this. We're resilient. Ian, any closing?
I don't think so. Thanks for having me on, you guys. And again, I'm excited to someday have people over again to play board games. That's for sure.
Oh, it seems
absolutely.
like a long ways away.
I want to finish Clank Legacy.
Oh, I know. There's
we only got like 3 games left.
I'm trying to figure out a way how I can multi-camera set up the game, so because that's one of my favorite Legacy experiences. So yeah, so that's a good closing. We're just cringing for more game time experiences is pretty much the going sentiment, I think. That being said, thank you for listening. I'm Norm.
I've been Ryan.
And I'm Ian.
And we'll catch you later. We are Bridge City Board Gamers, and you can find us on Twitter at BC Board Gamers, on our Facebook page, Bridge City Board Gamers Community, and on our YouTube channel, Bridge City Board Gamers, and follow us on our Board Game Geek Guild, where Ryan posts daily content. That's Board Game Geek Guild number 3039.